My name is Mike. I'm a professor for social management, and you are listening to Managing Around, the podcast about social sciencing and magic managing.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Managing Around, the bi-weekly podcast about social science, culture and management. This podcast today reviews A History of Management Thought by Morgen Witzel, a graduate textbook on organization and management theory. We will undertake a brief explanation of what the term management meant from the beginning of humanity to the present day. Still, the problems in its history are the apparent faults and holes. This book moved me by its effort to plug into whole, by posing a debate on the power structures of early capitalism to criticism of contemporary management theory. Let's start with a brief introduction to the author of this book. Morgen Witzel is a member of the University of Exeter, UK, Centre for Leadership Research and a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and of the Royal Literary Fund. He is the author of hundreds of papers for the scholarly and popular press. He has already published 18 textbooks, including Doing Business in China, Management the Basics, and Management History, all available from Routledge. He is a journalist, lecturer, and consultant on business and management on the history of management. The book, A History of Management Thought, which is under review today, is at management's transformation as an academic discipline from past to present. And it explores how management views have evolved socially, politically, and technologically within the society. In pyramids building enterprises, strategic planning of wars, in how the East and West taught administration in the Middle Ages, up to the question how the Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution altered the science of administration. Witzel followed management patterns from the ancient past and guided them to the problems in today's world. In this second and main part of this podcast today, I will provide a brief summary of the book. In the introduction to the book, Witzel fully describes why it is important to learn about the history of management thoughts. He explains his conviction that we cannot understand the present without knowing the past, and suggests that the past is used to look more efficient at present. Witzel believes that a management past will show management factors over the centuries. Finally, he argues that the past's importance will remind us how important it is to continue dreaming and pushing it further. By looking back over the past, we will fully appreciate its theory. He brings a personal touch to his work and gives the reader a solid basis for reading and looking at seminal works of management. The first chapter, Early Management Thought, starts from ancient times. It explains how much of the earliest management research can be divided into two groups. On the one hand, texts that distinguish between civilization and the environment, and these texts provide identity and ideology to this civilization. And on the other hand, fictitious methodologies that offer a glimpse of the value of the era. Witzel then links it with how those ancient civilizations saw leadership and what to expect from it. Many civilizations expected their leaders to be wise, strong, honest, and responsible, as how we nowadays understand the term management. Witzel credits ancient literature with how the administration maintained order and peace at that time. The layout of this chapter follows a geographical approach to the administration of ancient civilizations. The second chapter concerns management thought in the age of commerce, which focuses on a period of years in Europe and Asia from the 3rd to the 6th century. Witzel points out that a drastic shift occurred in the West because of migration to the West and the breakup of the Holy Roman Empire into independent states. In comparison, Witzel indicates that the East shifted too, as the Middle East Empire's supremacy was an anti-Byzantine power. As a result, worldwide trade became more complicated due to disruptions, with new management ideas to deal with these issues being introduced. Chapter 3 deals with management in the Age of Enlightenment and has a broad spectrum of ideas. The Revolution was a time of cultural and intellectual change in Europe. The sciences and new curiosity of the world was brought about, and the Industrial Revolution began. With an Immanuel Kant quotation, "There to know," Witzel summarizes the era's paradigmatic change in management view during this period due to the new economic and political ideas. In the last chapter, Management in the Internet Age, Witzel focuses on socialization and communication in management work and how technology has changed what has led to management achievements and problems. The last chapter is particularly interesting, so the reader can appreciate and critique today's management problems. The structure of the book is easy to follow, and for students, it is perfectly organized. Each chapter focuses on a particular period and how management issues were treated. Each chapter starts with a quotation, which each underscores the different messages of the book. The book is written in plain, precise, and straightforward language to the extent that it is available to everyone at all management levels or business training. Witzel ensures that the interested reader can enjoy reading the text. All in all, this is an excellent introduction to research of managerial history in human history. However, its concepts are very brief, so it is more a starting point than a complete account of it. And finally, let's come to the third and last part of this episode today. Why is it worth reading? Morgen Witzel's A History of Management Thought is an incredible broad mission, an effort to analyze all leadership from the very beginning of society to show what, since humanity was born, people have been written and thought about management problems and how to address them. Despite Witzel's aim, his story does not reveal any significant gaps. He says many times, surprisingly, that this or that great civilization, I quote from the text, has created a great deal of remarkable business and management work. End of quote. This is the great value of the book, as it opens research beyond archival work and historical points of view. Alright, that's it for today. Dear listeners, I truly appreciate all your efforts to tune in to my podcast for this episode. Please, if you liked this episode, don't forget subscribing to the podcast channel in your favorite podcast app, so you can stay up to date whenever a brand new episode of Managing Around is released. Stay safe, and we will see us on the next episode.
If you liked this episode, please leave a review on the Apple's podcast website. If you are not using an iPhone, there's a link in the show notes. If you've got any ideas or thoughts on this episode, or if you've got an idea about new podcast topics or questions you'd like to discuss, send an audio file or voice note to hi@profmanagement.de. For any non-audio comments, drop a tweet or a DM to @profmanagement on Twitter, please. Thank you for listening and see you next time.